Just think if it was possible to be confident, focused and motivated in specific situations where you needed to be. Being able to perform at our best, be at our best, be confident, focused as and when necessary. The technique we're covering tonight gives you a process that you can use to be at your best at the right time. So pretty much like a light switch, you can switch it on as and when necessary to be in it. One of the most powerful ways that NLP works is think of present state and think of desired state. Think of where you are mentally in a certain situation and think of where you want to be. We have a present state, we have a desired state. And we've got all the resources we need to get to that desired state. Okay, you have all the resources in your mind that you need to get to that desired state. We're going to cover a very powerful resource tonight, which gives you a process, step by step, which you would probably do automatically without even realizing it, which your mindset in a place you want it to be at a specific situation. Okay, why learn to control your state? Well, would it be useful to you individually, or would it be useful to you to help friends, family, as a coach, to help your clients, your delegates, to be able to be in the right state mentally for an interview, for a meeting, for a presentation, for a difficult meeting, for a sports competition? Just give me a show of hands as to whether it would be useful for you to be able to switch your mindset into the right state at the right time. Of course it would. And you can do this process with someone else as well. It's an invaluable gift that you can give to someone else. It could be a driving exam. It could be for an interview where 100 people go for one job. Now, of those 100 people, they possibly might all have the same level of skill, yet the person who can perform in the day is going to get the job. And that might be just momentarily what goes through their mind at the right time. The most talented, the most skillful person doesn't always win. They don't always get the job. They don't always become the most successful. So people who can manage their state at the right time, which is key. So whatever you do, being able to manage your state is key and is fundamental to succeeding. By doing this process, you will be able to do that with your own mind, and you'll be able to do that with other people as well. I've used it personally in business, and I help people in business prepare mentally, in sport, as a radio broadcaster myself. I use it to get in the zone. What became paramount to me when I first got into radio broadcasting, I had a colleague of mine who, whatever was going on in his life, whenever he turned up to the station, he could switch on to where he had to be. And I thought, how does this guy do it? And he didn't deliberately have an anchor, yet he had a process in his mind. But whenever he sat in that chair, he would turn it on. And it'd be exactly where he had to be. And we all go through life, we all have ups and downs. I don't care who you are, we all have ups and downs. That's the fact of life. It's how we handle situations is key. So you get in the car, you're driving to an interview, someone calls you or texts you, have a bit of bad news, and you're not in the right frame of mind. This process can get you to where you have to be, which is key. And through life, you're going to have certain things that happen along the way. And the key thing is to be in the right state at the right time. But also, even non-specific to this, being in a positive state of mind is a better place to be. Being able to switch on to a more positive resource, I think you'll all agree, is a nicer, more pleasant place to be. So whenever you're in a state where, for whatever reason, you find it difficult to break out, you can use this process we're going to cover shortly to snap out of that thought process, which can be debilitating for some people. How do we use anchors? Well, I'm going to give you some examples of common anchors. Visually, logos. Think of big corporations, their logos. They attach anchors to that. If you think of logos of the major corporations, what goes with the logo? There's music, there's singing, there's dancing. Think of a bank advert, and you'll see all the things that go on in the background. they're creating an anchor, an association to that logo. Okay, a soft drink isn't going to tell you or market its drink based on what is in the actual drink itself. They're not going to say, well, if you buy this, you're going to get carbonated water with God knows what chemicals are inside and so many teaspoons of sugar, because that would create a negative anchor. They will get a pop star singing and dancing, who probably doesn't touch the stuff, but to create a positive anchor for you. And the next time you drive past it, or possibly your kids see that, they'll have an association. That's got to be good, because such and such drinks that, or endorses that. And it's an anchor, a visual anchor, auditory anchor, music. Think of a time that you might have been on a holiday when a song played, and you go back to that time. The auditory anchors, ringtones, accents, familiar voices. All these things are anchors. Think of your mobile phone. The ringtone will more than likely, you see people with mobile phones who actually have their own ringtone, their own music, to get into a certain state of mind when they take the call. People have music these days for their mobile phone. Kinesthetic anchors are powerful too. Clothing, exercise, a touch, tap of the shoulder, for example. They're anchors. And I sometimes tell people who are going for an interview or who are going to deliver a presentation or meeting, put an item of clothing on that makes them feel better as an anchor. It's a start. It's a positive way to feel better. Taste as well. For example, vinegar, garlic, lemon, chocolate. So you might be eating a chocolate that you ate on a holiday somewhere at some point, and it takes you back there. So there's also taste and smell too. So you might be walking down the road and you smell the smell of fresh bread. It takes you back to when you were back at school as well. So they're all anchors, associations. Now, one of the best things about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, it gives us a structure to set one of these anchors up or fabricate this for the anchor to work for you. Okay, so you can build an association in your own mind or someone else. So you can use this in a fabricated way to get the best out of yourself in a certain situation fairly quickly. And you'll probably already do some of these things already without realizing it. You'll probably already have your favourite song as your ringtone on your phone. You probably already have pictures on your wall or on your screensaver that give you a good association. So you probably have these. You'll probably feel a certain way when someone taps you on the back. So you'll possibly already have these already. Certainly some of the best athletes I've worked with who haven't come across anchoring have these already without even realising it. Yet when you tell them what it is, they formalise it and it helps them to get better performances. Now, the steps and the 4 key steps, and we'll cover the structure shortly, are eliciting a powerful desired state. We covered a few minutes ago present state, desired state, and the resources to get there. Present state, desired state, resources to get there. Okay, now we want to elicit a powerful state that's appropriate in that situation. So if it was to be calm in a certain situation, then you would choose that. If it was to be confident, then you would choose that. What we do afterwards is we provide stimulus as the state. What we do afterwards is we provide stimulus as the state changes. Okay, and we'll go into that shortly because that's part of the step-by-step process we're going to learn or reinforce learning in case you've done it before this evening. And then once we've done that, we bring the state back to baseline and we test the anchor. One of the key things that we need to have in place is a very powerful elicitation script. Okay, within the handouts that I've given you is a structured process we're going to cover shortly, how you would anchor yourself or someone else fairly easily, fairly quickly in a certain situation. Now, within that script, what's important when we talk about state elicitation is to be able to choose a specific time or a specific association. Now, I'll put this across to you now and we'll do a basic elicitation. Think of a time when you were totally confident or happy or felt great. Just think momentarily of a time when you felt really, really confident, really happy, you felt fantastic. Okay? As you begin to think about that, what we do, and the term, just relax. As you go back to that time, what I'd like you to do is just re-experience that time like it's happening in the here and now. Just relive that. Notice what you see, what you heard, and what you felt. Any feelings, any sounds. And really re-experience that time like it's happening in the here and now. And just build an association. Actually experiencing it like it's happening in the here and now. Notice any people around you, any colours of the clothes that they're wearing, any colours that you're wearing, any sounds, any comments. Really re-experience the situation. Time, in your own pace, you can come back to the here and now. If you want to, you may not want to come back. You might want to stay there. That's an elicitation. That's how we elicit a emotional state. Okay. Was everyone able to connect to an experience? Okay. Was everyone able to connect to an experience? Okay. It's that experience that is appropriate, those feelings that are appropriate in the context of a certain situation that are key. That's the important thing. Okay, it's important to have the right state at the right time. Okay, so there's confidence that you need, then there's confidence that you go for. So the key thing is to experience the right state. Present state, what would you say your present state in general is in certain situations?
Right, I'm happy at the moment.
Yeah.
I've been coping with depression.
Okay. And how long does that go for?
5 years and a half.
Okay. There are times when you are happy and you do feel good? Okay. And there are times when you don't feel so good? And how long does that last for?
It depends. When I was very grueling, depends really.
Yeah.
It doesn't last too long now, I don't think. I think I'm coming out of a heavy, dark period, you know. Things getting lighter. But maybe a day, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, so we'll give it a... Okay. So I want you to first of all think of a state of mind that you know. What would a desired state be?
Be happy.
Okay. Is there a time when you were really happy? What I want you to do is to anchor that process. So we're following the sheets now. If you'd like to follow the actual sheets themselves, we're going to go through a step-by-step process. Okay. I want you to relive a situation where you are really happy. As you do that, I want you to attach it to an anchor. So if we run with thumb and finger for now, and then you can use your own anchor. So the key is, first of all, to relive a situation and then build, with this process, kinesthetic connection to that anchor. So we'll use, in this situation, thumb and finger. Okay? Just thumb and finger, and you can change it if you want at a different point. Can everyone hear me okay? I think this microphone has seen better days actually. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so I want you to really experience a time when you felt really happy. Okay? Recall a memory and imagine a time. And recall a memory and imagine a time. And just relive the experience like it's happening in the here and now. Notice what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt. Okay? As you relive that experience, as soon as you start working towards a peak intensity, just press your anchor. So squeezing thumb and finger together and hold for 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay? And really the experience of what's happening in here and now. Notice where you are, what's going on, how you feel. And as soon as you get just over that peak intensity, you can begin to release your anchor and just come back in here and now in your own time, in your own pace. As soon as you go beyond that peak experience, you can just come back to the other time and pace. Now what we will do, I'm going to go through that process 2 or 3 more times to stack the anchor. So the first thing is to design specifically a certain situation if possible, then choose a feeling, then relive the experience. Make sure you choose an anchor. So for the exercise, we're going with thumb and finger. It can be anything, and I will show you later other things that we can do to actually anchor. The key point is, at the point that we start experiencing a level of intensity of probably say 8 out of 10, that's when we press our anchor, hold for 5 seconds, to 5 to 15 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, 15 seconds, and just release once you get beyond peak intensity, and there'll become a neurological connection with the kinesthetic action and the actual feeling. Just like when you watch TV and you see a logo or you hear a song on the radio, it doesn't take long to build a neurological connection, kinesthetically. Okay? I'm going to go through that one more time, or a couple of more times if you can, please. So once again, I want you to relive a situation when you felt really happy. So just close your eyes, relax, and let yourself go. And go back to a time, or that time when you felt really happy. Notice what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt, and what it was like to experience that. Once you get to peak level, hold, that's good. And just really relive the experience and feel the intensity. Let it go for every cell of your body and magnify it. Once you get beyond the peak intensity, you can release. And you come back and do your thing. Okay? And we'll do that again shortly. What we do as well, it's important to break state. One of the ways to break state, so we'd ask the person to think of something different, or ask them to think of their phone number backwards. Time, please. So really relax and let yourself go. And just re-experience a time when you were really happy. Notice what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt. Okay, pressing your anchor. And really let the feelings intensify for every cell and muscle in your body until you get to just beyond the peak level of intensity, and you can release. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, what we can do, having stacked the anchor, is one of 2 things. We can then test the anchor by pressing it to see if there is that neurological connection building. So we can test it. So if you were to press that, do you feel a neurological connection building to that moment?
There's an association there. I think we need to strengthen it more.
Yeah.
There's certainly an association there.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I started to think straight away about what it's been thinking about.
Yeah. What you can do as well, which is powerful, is future pace too. And all future pacing is, at the end of it, if you're working with someone, it's okay. Let's imagine being in a situation where you're going for that interview, that presentation, or you're feeling that cycle of not feeling so great. Imagine pressing your anchor and see if it breaks that cycle. Okay, so you can future pace, which is a powerful process as well, to see if it's working in that situation, which is key. Thank you very much for having a go. I really appreciate you coming out there. You know, non-league, and I brought NLP into a team that were in a non-league. It was a big part of what they did and took on board. And here's a guy, you've seen him tap his foot, get in the zone, he's about to take a free kick. In a big tournament, Challenge Cup, tapped his foot in the zone. Okay. So I wanted to test myself in that situation because I felt I've worked some of the best performers going. I thought, can I do this in the non-league? And this will give you an idea of how it should be on the training ground. That's me, myself. A hidden part. Recognised. Yeah. Something like a mad person in the park. There you go. And I use the actual post to demonstrate that. So actually tap on the foot, and we sort of replicated that process. So the yeah. And the key point is the right state at the right time. The person, the client has designed what is right for them. It's no good me telling someone confidence is what you need. It's about what you need and what your client needs, which is key. So ask them what you think is a problem. You know, it's just like going for a job interview. Can I get the job? If I get the job, I'll be able to pay the mortgage, I'll be able to go on holiday. So you've got all these things going through your mind. Yet, when you're taking that free kick, you've got to think of the process. Thinking of the outcome is going to overwhelm you, make it even more difficult. You go for that interview, you've got to think of the process. You go for that presentation, you've got to think of what you know, the process. Take the free kick, you've got to think about the technique, the skill you can do. So the tapping of the foot is the association to the mind you want to be in when you strike the actual ball itself. Because you can't affect anything else in your life at that point anyway. So there's no point thinking about anything else other than the process of taking that free kick, or that interview, or that presentation. So the key was, the anchor was tapping of the foot, association, and then strike. And obviously you get a positive result. Now, I'd like to think that they had some effect within the team. I'm not claiming NLP was the be-all and end-all. There are things that went with it as well. Yet in saying that, the challenge was to take a team that hadn't won anything for a long time and were non-league players and see what we could do. We won a big tournament, and some players went on to do some good things. So, sorry.
I was just going to say, sort of, how do you measure the outcome of this? How can you tell whether this anchoring is actually benefiting the person?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question actually. Unlike a physiological event, like 100-meter sprints, you could do training in the gym and say, okay, that training has got me from 10 seconds for 100 meters to 9.9. How you would measure outcomes is based on you and your client, if you're a coach, or yourself, based on what you're aiming to achieve. What is it that you want as an outcome? We talked about present state, resource, and desired state. Having that desired state, what would it bring to you? What outcome would you achieve? And how you would quantify that is difficult in the sense to know how much of what you did made an impact. Yet, if the person you work with goes away and gets that job, delivers that presentation, scores 10 free kicks when the season before they only scored 1, they're probably not going to come back and complain. Or even so, if they go in there and give it their best, and it wasn't to be, yet they felt they gave it everything they had, most people would hold their hands up and say, well, actually, I give it all I had, I was in the right state, I probably need to improve in those areas. So the answer to your question is, psychologically, it is harder to quantify things, how much of an improvement or how much of an impact you had. Yet what I would say, be very clear about the outcome your client wants to achieve, which is really important, really significant. Okay, and I would say that, in my experience, certainly, not too many people are going to come back and complain if they actually achieve a positive result or see improvements. If you don't really understand their field or what they do, ask them what would mean the improvement for you. Okay, could be delivering a presentation to a number of people and achieving so many sales. So really be clear about where they are and what they want to achieve. Have quantifiable targets, and that'll help you as well, help them get to where they want to get to. Okay. Okay, so on that note, if we have a practice, 10 minutes each way, just to run through the process.